Talking to somebody who's in their 40s, they want to retire mid-50s, that's what their belief is, then there are a number of issues that they're going to have to handle. They may think they want to do it because their parents were able to pull it off, but their parents' retirement is not their retirement. This is a different world moving forward, right? If somebody were to retire at 55, their life expectancy puts them out to 90, they're going to have 35 years in retirement. Well, they've probably only had 30 or 35 years at the most of years working. And the reality is most of them haven't been able to totally do what they wanted to do when they were making money, let alone when they get to retirement. And they're not making any money, and they're living off of what they've been able to accumulate. So for most people, it's just not going to be a reality as much as they would love to do it. But it doesn't mean they can't leave the job that they hate and go find something else to do. Because what you're doing is you're just swapping your time in exchange for some compensation. So go find something you want to do. Okay? That's what people really need to focus on, is that they're going to have to work a long time, so you might as well really enjoy it. So if somebody wanted to retire at 55, how much money are they really going to need? Okay? First of all, the idea that you can retire on 70% or 80% of what you were making the day before you retired is not a reality. A lot of people will say that, but the truth is you really need and should want 100% of what you were making as what your retirement income would be. And a great example is the most expensive day of the week is Saturday. That's the day that you take the family and you go to Costco, and that's the day you go play golf, you go out to dinner, you go to the movies. It's the most expensive day. The moment you retire, every day is a Saturday. And every day is going to be that expensive, unless you can figure out how to control it. Okay, so you have got to look at, say, I've got to have 100% of what my income is, would be an ideal scene. And then I've got to factor in that I'm going to have all of these unexpected expenses that will come along. You still need a roof on the house. You're going to need a new car. There's going to be new electronic devices come out that you're going to want to own that you hadn't put into your budget. And then you've got the cost of living increase. Look at the cost of gasoline and how much it goes up. It goes up way more than what they say the cost of inflation is. So you've got to factor that in. And then you start multiplying it. So if you wanted a $100,000 a year retirement income, some years down the road, it's going to have to be $200,000. Otherwise, your $100,000 is only going to have a $50,000 purchasing power. And you're going to have to cut back on your lifestyle. People live so much longer now that they want to, and they'll be active for so much longer. Then it's the issue of, if I'm going to be active longer and I'm not going to be sitting at home, it all costs money. So we've got to figure out how much can you accumulate and how much will it build for you over that time, because the biggest goal is you never run out of money. Those are the issues we have to look at that I have with my clients. When somebody walks into my office, that is the first conversation we're going to have, is what kind of a lifestyle do you want to have and how long do you expect to have it? And that's what we look at, all of those details, look at the numbers, look at the scenarios, but really look at what life is really about and how can you enjoy it? And how can you also help all those people around you? If you've got kids or if you've got a community and they need support too, we have to add that in along with it. So if I have somebody come in and they've got $1 million that they've been able to accumulate that they want to use for retirement, you think, well, that sounds like a lot of money. But the reality is, and if you look at all the studies, all they can do is take out somewhere between 3 to 4% of that value every year for their income. Otherwise, they run a tremendous risk of running out of money before they die. And the worst thing is to outlive your money. So 3 to 4% of $1 million is only $30,000 to $40,000 a year. But they were making 100. So now they retire at 55 and all they've got is $30,000, that's not much of a retirement. So now they've got to go take more out of the account, and they increase the risk that they will run out. They increase it dramatically. So $1 million, although it seems like a lot of money, really doesn't amount to that much. And so that's why we've got to work to create more, or we have to come up with strategies that will make sure that the income stream will be guaranteed and never run away. The more common scenario is somebody walks in and they've saved $100,000 or $250,000. And that's a long ways away from the million or the 2 million they need. And so that's where we would look at really establishing a plan, a strategy on how they can achieve what they're going to want to achieve. We can set a firm deadline on how long they're going to need to work and how much they're going to have to save, and the most effective ways to save it, because it's really about efficiency. See, the investment strategies are not about high rates of return. They're really about safety and efficiency so that we can accumulate the retirement that they're going to want. For an example, we've talked about strategy, so now we've really got to take a look at some examples of how this would work. The first piece is we've got to address 3 important factors. The first factor is, what if you die too soon? Whatever plan we develop, it has to have a provision that if you were to die too soon, but you've got a family and you're working and you're trying to save money to support them and your future retirement, you have to have a way to address that. So we put financial products in place. Usually in a situation like that, it's going to be life insurance, because if you die too soon, a tax-free death benefit shows up, and all those people that are there and depending on you now have a financial resource. The second side of it is you live too long. And that's kind of what we've been talking about. If somebody retires at age 55 and they got a lot of years to go. So in this strategy, we've got to develop to make sure that the money will last, so when you live too long. And then the third piece is the strategy piece that says, what if you become disabled along the way? Your greatest asset is your ability to earn an income. And so if you lose that ability because you become sick or hurt, and it's very simple to do. 1 out of 8 people will have at least a 6-month disability. How quickly would that eat up somebody's retirement money that they've set aside? So we've got to come up with a strategy to address, where does the money come from if you were to become disabled? And because the fact is, any of these plans, failure is not an option. That is the biggest issue. Failure is not an option. So now we take a look at it and actually put dollars on the paper to figure out where they need to be and how we're going to take them and maximize them. How much do you need to save? What do you need to get out of your paycheck, and what would be the best place to save it? Right? And how do you invest it? Where do you save it? Do you put it at risk or not? And what are those vehicles that are available to do so? And then we have the issues of taxation. We've got to look at tax. Is it better to postpone tax to a later date, or is it better to pay the tax now? All of those are parts. They're all the questions everybody has, because nobody really knows what they should do. And that's what we would do as we set up a strategic plan. That's the reason I created these videos and this YouTube channel. So I encourage you to subscribe, because every episode is going to talk about the different challenges, the different solutions, and the different strategies that you can use so that you can accomplish the financial future that you want to have.